Hey, welcome in. Yeah, glad you're liking the work. I've just got it's a new product at the minute. I think I showed it off yesterday on stream. Clean RGB for the SNES with Edgebuster built in. Just a much quicker and easier install. I never got round to finishing off this, figuring out what resistors we need so I can get this ordered. So I'll do that first. And then I've got to build 6 Game Gears. All 1A6. So I'll be doing that for a few hours. Hey, afternoon. Pretty much picking up where we left off on the last stream. I haven't done any more in this room. I've been on software up until that point. So I just need first figure out which resistors on here are the ones for the RGB, and we need to just correct them because they're a bit overpowered at the minute. Just ignore me having me dinner at the same time. I've got loads to get on with, so. Let's just open up. Schematics, SNES. Where am I? Not schematics. Hardware, SNES, Edgebuster, hardware design. Hey, welcome in again, Jake. Pretty much exactly where we were when we left the last stream. Just finishing off, finding out the resistor values for these first. I knew I'd just put some random temporary resistors in when I made it, so I just need to probe that it's all right. Which the first... Oh, look at that. I haven't even said anything yet, and TikTok have banned us again. Defo just permanently automated. So I literally spoke 3 words and TikTok have blocked us. I think that's like the end of TikTok, really, isn't it? Oh, wicked. Probes fall off. There we go. Definitely getting a bit cluttered on this desk. I know TikTok will, you'll be able to see if you're on, but nobody else will join now. It happens every single time. So if you're on TikTok, I'd highly recommend just subbing to the others because I will definitely be stopping it soon. It just doesn't work. It's absolutely pointless wasting the bandwidth on it and the extra chat window and all the extra setup when every single stream just gets instantly restricted. It's just crazy. Now, so first thing I need to do is actually check there's no DC offset because I've put this as no DC offset in the design. So let's make sure that's the case first. Yeah, thanks. Glad you're liking the Doom chair. I was waiting on buying it for months before I brought it, waiting for it to go on offer. Right, so let's get the OSSC on stream. See where we're at first, like visually, because basically we're too bright at the minute, as we know, but I want to check the inputs also. Don't have DC offset to start with. Need a bigger desk. They just ban it randomly. Some days we'll get 500 viewers, and other days, like today, the day before that, as soon as you start streaming, they just say, "Oh, you're selling products outside of TikTok." So whether it's something on, on the like the sub goal, maybe something on stream that AI is detecting, or I don't know, it's random. And then other days we'll sit here talking about selling products, linking to websites, have things on stream, and they don't ban it. So, but it's just a bit ridiculous. It's a stream where I rarely tell people to buy from us or do anything that's work away. So it's just more annoying than anything. I'm just getting a bit fed up of seeing start a stream and then you just have TikTok pop up straight away and go, "Oh, it's blocked." It's like, why waste the upload bandwidth on it, basically. Plug this in the right way might help. So you can't really see too much on there as if it's over bright. Did I not? I could have sworn we loaded 240p suite on this. Did we not, maybe? Maybe just press start. We will load 240p test suite on there, but there you go. See how it's like completely, obviously off at the minute. So that's what we need to fix. But let me just probe. Open that. Get the Picoscope up. That's actually quite cool now that for some reason the audio started working on HDMI through the capture. It wasn't working before. But now if I hide it, the audio goes off, which is kind of what I want. Otherwise, before we were hearing the audio even when it wasn't on screen. And it can be a bit distracting. Right, so that's the scope software. Set this up correctly. DSP active at 4 meg. Down to that. Trigger on there. Right, we should be good. Right then. RGB in. So R on the input. There we go. No DC offset, which is what we want to see. So go to like 50. And then you can see this is pure straight from the SNES, nothing done yet. And you can see the 0 volt line, which is here, clearly absolutely no offsets. That's what we want. I've got it set up like that. And now the only thing we need to fix is the outputs are obviously then over bright. So this output loaded down would be a certain voltage, which looks a little bit over. But if I take that off, it should jump up. There you go. So unloaded, it should be 1.4 volts total range. And I'm going to guess that's the white text there. But what you can do is drag this up, find your highest point, which is clearly like there. So now what we need to do here is drag that. It should be 0.2. Perfect. And this should be 1.6 in the offset and 1.4 range. So it should be there. So we're way over bright. But like I say, I put random resistors on this, so it's no surprise. So what we need to do now is I'll just remove the red channel resistor. And we'll tweak this to the perfect value, and then I can update the designing gate in production, basically. So I'm just reading my schematic. I'm not just sitting eating. I am actually just staring at my schematic first, figure out where I need to remove the resistors from. So it'll be this one we want to change. Right, second one up. On the bottom. So we can do this slanty, I guess. The resistor I'm going to change is, where's my tweezers gone? This one here, so second one up. You guys won't have to do this. This is a pre-production sample, so I just need to find the right value. And what I'm going to do is remove it with my super cool micro hot air tip. And then we are going to put a potentiometer on, so we're going to tweak the resistance manually to find the perfect value. And then we can just put that down. So, lazy way of doing it. You can do calculations. I find it easy, just tack on a potentiometer, see it live, and then read the value after. Yeah, for the if you know enough about electronics, you'll see these chip names and know exactly how I've done it potentially. But I don't share the schematics to this because just try and stop people cloning it too quick. But yeah, on this design specifically, changing this resistor will change the exact ratio of output. That's how this, it's not universal, it's how this board's designed. So the original's 13K, and it's not enough. Or is that too much? Not enough. So let's go to a 20K. So I'm just going to get a 20K potentiometer. So baby one. And that's basically a turnable potentiometer. And what I've done, you can see I do this semi-regular on things, so they've already got wires attached. I've attached a wire to the center pin and one of the outer pins. So now, when I turn this dial, which is difficult to do, we'll be changing the resistance. So all we've got to do is tack those two wires on this board, which are we fully zoomed in there? Yeah, I'm going to have to zoom in a bit more. Right, and so we've got to tack this wire on here. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm going to look at the stream. I'm looking straight down at the pads, try and see them, and forgetting I zoomed in on stream purposely so I could see what I'm doing. There we go. Just enough. It just needs to be tacked on enough to do a job. Not the cleanest, but it isn't. I mean, it looks like it's shorting, but it isn't. We'll find out if it is. All it'll do is make the voltage drop to... well, it'll just make it go super bright, basically. So with that on now, I should be able to just turn this dial and bring up... what am I going to do here? I'll give you guys the preview of the game, I guess. And I'll turn the dial to adjust the voltage. And then I can always show you there. Well, I could show you both. I could actually get the game up on screen. Is that it? There we go. Back out, press start, and it should instant load, I think it was. And then what I can do, obviously my head's going to get in the way here a bit, but right, zoom that onto there. And we press, and the probe actually is going to need yeah. We're going to actually need a bit more first. So, move that out my nose first. Because I'm not going to have hands to hold this probe, we're going to have to also have a wire on another one. We're going to have a wire on the preload resistor. So this one is, of course it is, one up there just on the inside leg. It's going to be a bit difficult to tack onto. This is so we can see everything. I just kind of want to show you all of it happening at once instead of just doing the work. So I need to tack a wire on now to a resistor here, the bottom leg of a resistor, and this allows me to monitor while it's connected to the TV, still monitor the preloaded down voltage. So we go on to that, tack on a leg here. We've got some spam going on YouTube again. I seem to get a lot of spam. Let me just open YouTube up and ban that dude. So is it going to be, anyone seen the spam? Is it on vertical or horizontal? I'm going to guess. Last time it was on horizontal. I'm going to go on horizontal. See if he's on there. No chat apparently on horizontal. Go back. Go vertical. There we go. Let's ban this geezer. Report, spam, report, hide from channel, done. There we go. Bridge on the top left corner. Bridge on the top left corner of what? This wire is thick as hell. I've got to try and just tack it on. Like I said, I just need it just enough for showing you guys this working. That'll do. Zoom out. Go back to that camera. What are we making? I have a new mod. Well, it's an upgraded version of a mod I've already made called the Clean RGB for the SNES console. Gives you perfect RGB output and removes blur on edges. But we just fix it. Well, we're not fixing. This is a prototype, and now we're just working out the values we need. Yeah, I will. We'll definitely get trolled. I'm gonna also probably just close the TikTok chat. Maybe I'll leave it open because it's not merging in, and then I've got two separate windows. And like I say, it's been barred by TikTok anyway, so we're not going to get many viewers on there. Right. So what I've got is the probe attached to where we were probing. We have now power on there, I presume, which means we can do this. And, well, helps if you plug power in and plug the receiver in. So now the receiver shouldn't load down our signal, as in the signal you guys see on the scope should now match. So if I start that, move this over to the screen, this is how we do it. That was the original. If I press play now, there we go. So you can see it's still the same. And now what I need to do is with a screwdriver, where's the camera? Little screwdriver, I'm going to turn the dial of that little potentiometer, which is pretty difficult. And we should see that voltage drop. If we don't, then I've got those legs shorted. Try and not get me fizzog in the way. Look at that. Big nose in the way. Let's move that out the way a bit. Let's try and move this. I would have thought the fact it's already at the same level, I'm suspecting maybe that is shorted, so this will do nothing, but we'll see. I just know this is very difficult to... Oh, what the... Let it come back to the menu. I'm going to try and turn that now. Which is impossible with that one. Impossible to turn. There we go. So that's turning. And you'll only see the red go better because we're only adjusting the red at the minute, so you're not going to see all the colours. So looks like it needs to be above 20, to be honest, though. Yeah, it's going to have to be above 20. Just above 20, because that's going to be almost 20 there. Yeah, so that's the max that turns. So I reckon we're close enough there. We'll go for soldering a resistor because that's nearly impossible to turn. Let me show you what I'm doing. I need to get some different potentiometers that are easier to turn when they're floating. Because when you're trying to hold this in one hand when it's floating and you've got spiky solder balls on there and you're trying to turn this with a screwdriver, you can't really turn it. It wrecks your fingers. So I need the nice big blue ones to turn that. But we saw it was close at 20. So I'm just going to chuck on, because we know it's close at 20, I'm going to chuck on like the next one up from 20 and see what voltage we get. We'll do it that way. So let's get resistor book. And I've got a 22 we can use. So let's try a 22. Can you benefit from this mod with having comp in? As in, if you've only got composite going to the TV, like your receiver, we've got a clean comp for that can clean up and filter composite and correct the voltage levels. But your difference is marginal. You won't see a massive difference. It'll still improve it, but not enough that I'd really recommend it. I'd just try and upgrade to RGB, basically. Yeah, let's see where we're at on the scope. The scope's all that really matters. Let's just check we're loaded. We'll load up and then I'll pull up the actual scope. I think we're still over by the looks of it by quite a bit. So if we go, ignore the colours, like I say, they're not accurate, but if you look at the voltage, we're still slightly too high. So that is obviously too high up. Like there, that's should be 1.4, we're at 1.58. So need a bit more tweaking yet. Right, so let's just unplug power, swap it for, we'll do 20, I'm going to go 27, I'm going to do a big-ish jump. Put these other ones back. And there we go, booting up, and perfect. By the looks of it, literally perfect. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, absolutely perfect level. So look at that, it's literally over the line. So if I move that line right under it, so we're absolutely perfect there, completely within 0.1 volt. So we just need to do that now with all the channels. If I put the other one on, we'll see it still won't look right, but the reds will be right. So now if we do the 27K resistor on the other two channels, this should be perfect. So we have two more here. Let me just find out which ones I need to swap. What's this? A GameCube? No, this is a SNES. What we're working on at the minute. We'll be on Game Gears in a minute. Retro TV has composite RF, no RGB. S-Video for Luma and Chroma. S-Video will be better. You can I think the SNES has S-Video out on the connector. Let me just quickly check. SNES AV pin out. Yeah, SNES has got S-Video, so you can buy an S-Video cable. That'll improve it quite a bit. Not crazy, but it'll improve it, you know, a decent amount. Right, so I need to adjust that one and that one. So third one down and fifth one down. So I need to swap out third one down. And fifth one down. And then put on the new ones. And just put back on my cables that are going walkies. And now I think if we've done that right, that should be perfect. Let's see. Start. What do we reckon? It should be, because the other ones were. Unless I've swapped the wrong resistors. There we go. How long do you need to learn it? If you're sub to the channel, we do every Tuesday, like today at 4:30. We'll be doing sub-only streams Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Teach you how to do exactly this. Hardware repairs, all stuff you need. Won't take that long. Like, you'll obviously learn all the time, but you can get into it fairly quickly. Yeah, it's nice and clean that is now. Streamlag. I blame everything on Streamlag. I set this up so I can point through my CRT and do it without Streamlag though. Oh no, I haven't done it for RGB yet. I've only done it for composite. But yeah, it's looking nice to me. Let me just put it full screen, double check. Yeah, it's looking pretty sharp, colourful, clean. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's that one done. So I need to make notes of that, get that into production. I'll just, to be honest, I'll just tell the factory now, get it done. And then I think that's it. That's the only change on this. So R5, 13, R5, R13, R22, R26. Yep. Change from 13K to 27K, we said, didn't we? Streamlabs again. Yeah, I need to turn off. I keep saying this every single stream. I need to turn off them bots for caps and abusive language and stuff. What's that? Those boxes, there's just the spares. Cooked in the drives, that's just to go down. Oh shit, we've got a PS2. Is that, oh yeah, I need region mod that, don't I? Is that all that's got to be done?
Yeah.
Do them now, I think. Why is there 2 in?
Just 2 stock ones.
So just use one off.
Yeah.
There's 3 in.
There's 3 PlayStation.
Yeah, another one at the bottom. Power brick. No.
Oh, it's just a.
Yeah.
I might have already given it a customer.
So we've got a power brick, have we?
Not even one for ourselves.
No. Not inside. There goes that idea then. I'll have to order one in. Nearly. Oh, they won't know what you're on now. Links to Prestige for Christmas customers. But we've done all the Prestiges are done now for Christmas. We just got the back on the send-ins now. See how many we can get done. Yeah, board preheater. Funnily enough, I'm going to probably use it on these Game Gears I'm about to do, just because I've got so many do. I think it does make it quicker. I think using the lower heat, the 330 we're running now, definitely takes longer to do the swaps. But I did the first successful one yesterday, I think. No, day before yesterday on stream. It's the first one ASIC that's worked for me first time, without bending legs down, no faffing, nothing at all, just literally soldered on fine. So it does work, it just takes longer. So I need to get the preheater out, I think, to do them a bit quicker, so I'm not waiting around. Zach face reveal. Nah, I doubt it. What you say? No. £1 million. How much I got to pay you? Where's the SNES? I need to organise these every time. I can never find the SNES. It's a SNES for a customer, isn't it? This is just literally for testing that mod. Yeah, so we've just got a working SNES board now. Afternoon. Another bag. Actually, I'll get a foily. Yep, the preheater will be coming out in a minute. That can go away. Screws. Oh, I've got some shit on my desk. Oh, new sub. Thanks very much. That's a lot of shit. Did that new code change the flicker or not?
No.
No, wicked.
I'm doing a recap now.
It's probably just the console, and that probably is the console booting up and then restarting and booting again. So it's just the actual console, basically. Let's put one of these down for once so I don't get on the desk. Creepy pattern. That's now a ridiculously long, massive SNES power brick that you can power from across the room. Because that other one,
Which one?
I can't remember what. Like the
SNES.
UK.
You got rid of that?
No, I'm just, now you've said it, I'm wondering why I built another one. I either couldn't find it or I could find it and I built one. I don't know why. Oh, it's because it's noisy in it. The one we've got's a shit. It hasn't got the filtering on, has it, like a big brick? So it adds noise to the screen. Because I was doing the clean RGB, I needed to see the screen proper. It's because that one's that, isn't it? Thin.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah,
add noise,
that SNES
it's still in there.
one.
Yeah, so that thicken will give you perfect screen. Like if you need it, basically. That's why I knew there was a reason why I did it. Camera's pointing up at the wall. It's preheater out. It's plugged in. Xbox Elite controllers. Now we stopped repairing controllers a while ago. It just wasn't worth the hassle. You'd send some people would send it in for like a thumbstick and then say the bumper or the trigger didn't work. It's because they've raged and smashed it against a wall, and you end up fixing one thing and then they try and warranty claim the entire controller. So it just wasn't worth it. Yeah, right, get this thing going. You can go to 200. Yeah, I got the same one. It's funnily enough, I technically didn't even need this. I thought it was smaller. The one I've already got is basically exactly the same, just with a soldering hot air above it. I could have just unscrewed that and used it, but I've got one now anyway. So, Game Gears. I haven't even got Game Gears. Bet we're getting low on these. Oh shit, now we are. We're going to need Game Gears in general soon. Have we got a load of these in the warehouse still? We haven't. We've got a massive tub full, or the garage, with one A6.
Was it the two A6 that I went?
Yeah, we only took the two A6 out. I reckon we got loads of ones in there. because we might need them at this rate, unless every one of these works. Right, let's get this thing. We don't really need the preheater for taking it off, but let's just chuck him on anyway. Let me see if I can just turn off that Streamlabs bot in a minute as well. And let me finish updating the schematic before I forget that. Res 27K. So 513 22. 513 22. Oh, didn't delete them. 513. 22. 26. That's that done. Update the bomb and then we'll crack on. $513, 26, 13K. So literally just change that. 27. That's that all done. We have a nice smoking game, you know. Let's get this off. What we want to do then, I haven't really planned this. We'll put that on the preheater. We've got to pre-tin these pads first. Let's leave them on the preheater, smoking away, man. Let's get the extractor around here, like that maybe. There we go. I've not worked with the preheater and soldering at the same time before. Move that there. There we go. So I'm just gonna, well, in fact, why don't I overhead when I'm soldering that? Probably easier. There we go. So we want to pre-tin these pads first, and the idea will be hot air it off the other board, chuck this on the preheater, and then solder it back down. That's the goal. You've seen this many times. Yeah, this baby knife tip is good in one way because it's a smaller tip, but it definitely doesn't transfer the heat as good as my big one. So you just have to spend a little bit more time when you're tinning pads, but still does the job. I'll catch up on chat as well, and I've not even really looked at chat while I've been getting all this out. Wasn't exactly planned very well today. I just jumped on stream. That's pre-tinned. Clean that off. Everyone loves the mood chair here. Issues with the Fenrir Duo or Lite. It's the I think I've binned them, to be honest. Hundreds of pounds and they're useless. Honestly, I've tried them on. We had 4 Sega Saturns for Christmas to build. I've changed all of them to Sarus. These things are dog shit. There you go. So I've tried multiple. Can see they're all on Rev 2.3. This is an older one when I brought them off him a while ago. And then I've got some newer ones, tried clone ones. They're all the same. They don't work on. I'd say literally 80% of Saturns they don't work on. Plug in a Saru, works first time every time. So yeah, terrible. Wouldn't go back to them. I wasted a full day thinking there was other problems and other mods. And it was just the Fenrir. And they definitely installs right, because it boots up on certain Saturns. I had it booting up on one of them and it worked every time. And then other ones it just doesn't work on, basically. So it's definitely it'll be a software, no doubt, an FPGA or a software issue. And they just don't support a lot of the consoles by the looks of it. Xbox still working good, the green one, nice. Yeah, we had a load in. They've slowed down a little bit, to be honest, at the minute, the Xbox originals. We still got, we just built, what have we built? We built another green one and we built 2 black in the last week or so. But yeah, we normally get tons of them and they all come in like waves. You get loads in one wave and then it changes. So now I've done the SNES RGB on a stream, you'll probably find out. We'll end up selling a bunch of SNESes. Right, so this is nicely pre-warmed up to 200 degrees, so this shouldn't take long at all. I presume it's not actually, yeah, it's not obviously coming off because the solder won't melt at 200, but this shouldn't take long at all now at the 3. I'm going to 380, I think I'm running the hot air now. Went up a little bit from 330. What am I trying to make? This is a Game Gear, the green one on here. This is an original Game Gear that doesn't work. Probably because the non-Retro 6 screen on there has killed it. So what we're doing is transplanting the ASIC, which is like the heart of the console, onto a Game Gear that I've made called the RePCB, and we should be able to bring it back to life, basically. Wow, even with preheating, see that's free. The ASIC is still sitting there stubborn. There we go. Right, so while it's done, I don't want to put it down because I don't want to bend the pins. I want to actually swap this board off, take that one off, put on our, that's what we want to do. Put on our board like that. And now this needs to go on a way that I can't even see. That way. So we want this to go on where the Sega, which you can barely see on there, but Sega's written this way, and the writing is written this way, so it matches the writing underneath. While that's on, we now want to align this. So if I probably don't need the extractor there for the minute. I'll turn this around, zoom in. Let's get this nicely positioned now. Now I've got time to think what I'm doing. So we can't quite zoom in all the way. That's kind of a shame. There we go, because the minimal focal distance of this camera. So I want to get this as close to aligned as possible. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe the top. Yeah, I think, to be honest, that's pretty close to aligned. It looks slightly tilted for you guys. Well, it wants to be like there. Rest them cutters underneath. There we go. Yeah, what a shame about that focal distance. It's like a little bit too, like it wants to be, that's the full zoom, but then you can't pull focus. Like it just is too far. So I've got to do it up there, and then, yeah, I mean, you can still see enough. It's zoomed in enough. And now we'll give this a minute for preheating, and then we'll go around with the hot air and get this thing to lay flat. Brain surgery. This is definitely not brain surgery. This is connecting the dots. Oh yeah, Merry Christmas, guys, as well. Yeah, we're not far off. Yes, 16th. Geez, 9 days away. I think that's probably, well, to be honest as well, I've just brought another thermal camera. I know I've got FLIR giving me thermals as well, but you know what I'm like for buying every brand and every version of things. I just brought this one. Now this isn't cheap. ET15S, this was like, I don't know, it's £400 I've got in my head, but maybe not that dear. I can find out. But this thing I'm really impressed with so far. Wait till you see this. Oh yeah, the Clean Juice AA. I've done a video that needs to go up on TikTok later, like a pre-recorded one for installation. Yeah, look at this. Look at how look at how fast that like updates and the detail you can see. And then you've also got on the back, I paid extra, so that's a macro lens, so that's a standard lens, I guess. When it calibrates, oh, I broke it already. There you go. So you can see all the detail there from far away. It's a bit slower calibrating when there's actual heat involved. Yeah, so my hand doesn't even show because it's calibrating to that range, like high temperature range. So if I maybe move that out of the way, yeah, I can't really. It'll just have to be that. So anyway, there's that. And then if you go close, probably have to show you when I can get the camera angle focus better. That's a macro lens. So when you go over the pins here, it'll be when it calibrates. This is because it's switching between the two modes, like the really high temp mode. Look at the detail on that and the update speed. So I'll show you that in a minute. Right, let's get this thing reflown. It's been on here long enough. We should be able to get this down. And like I said, I did one of these 2 days ago, I think it was, and did it really good with not needing anything done to it, just soldered down well. So hopefully you can get these to solder down well with just enough practice. Catching the fumes off this though is tricky. That was worth positioning. It's like tacked in on one leg and then started bouncing around. Well, we'll do what we do on the 2AC, get him sitting down and then nudge him into position. Why is this one floating so much? I think the preheater is bowing the board slightly. So I think maybe we don't bother with the preheater next. Because I did the one the other day with no preheater, no problem. So I'm thinking it's going to go back on the shelf again. Yeah, this is not sitting down. We'll take this off and do it without the preheater. The board's bending. Get them off. So he can go. He was a waste of time. Right, so that's definitely not the way we do it. I think the main issue with these 186, as you can see, is them laying flat is the main problem. They just don't like to, if there's any twist or movement in the board, it definitely just doesn't adhere. The pins are so fine and already up in the air. I think the slightest bow is enough to make it not stick down. So we'll just start afresh, basically. There we go. So we've still got the pads there all clean. The board's laying flat now, so we'll go for this again. And we'll do it the way I normally do it, which is basically the method that's now working the best. Is pretty much the same way of doing 2A6. So we will place him down again. We want to get, I know it moved on the last one, but we want to get the position as accurate as possible, so when it pulls in we have less shorts than, you know, we don't want tons of shorts for the sake of just aligning the chip a bit first. So I think that'll do there. And I'm pretty sure I did it at 380/80. I'm sure I haven't changed my iron settings since. Let's see how this goes. There we go. Oh, of course, there's red comments and not that chip. Static, no, I've never, quite a few people mention it, but I've never seen issues with static, really. Again, I said that about the heat till I killed BDP, so like if I see issues from static ever, then I'd do something about it, but generally I don't see issues. You know what, I don't know whether, I know I haven't done it before. I don't know whether we just tack one of these legs with this chip keep moving about. Should we just tack one of the legs, like one corner of each of the legs? I think we will. Just to stop this thing moving around. It's one extra step and I didn't need it on the last one, but this one, moving about, it's kind of a sign it's not going to go down very well, but let's get it in position again. Top and bottom. And then we'll tack him into place, I think. There's so much more work than 2A6 though, for just quickly soldering down. That's that corner tacked in. They're aligned up that side. We're lined up that side, and then we can just nudge the top over. And we'll tack in this top corner here. Yeah, you can feel the pins are miles in the air. This is what I don't like about the 1A6. These are floating miles in the air. Like miles. So I don't know whether you just get lucky with some chips that they're not up in the air. So I've got a feeling this one isn't going to go down as well as the other one the other day. Well, that's now tacked into position anyway, so that's not going to go anywhere. Well, probably will knowing us, but that's on there. Let's now get this thing on. I'm going to go to 400 as well. Right, so I'll try, not that you really can. I'd try and avoid them two corners, but we've got to warm the entire chips and the legs up in one go. So you can't really avoid that area, but I'll purposely try and maybe focus on the other areas first so that some of the pins start tacking down, otherwise this thing will just go flying again. And that's now flowing better than what we had before. A bit more like a normal 2A6 reflow. Now I think we can go for a push down. And that's it. But it's like I say, I swear these legs are up in the air, so I've got a feeling these won't go. As well as the other one was perfect the other day, like absolutely perfect. Went down, not a single bridge, all the joints look nice. You can kind of tell from this it's not going to be the same. So there's got to be, I think, variations in the boards and the A6 sitting position over the years. And I think if they're sitting on a board with a bit of a bow, maybe the legs naturally are further bowed up on the 1A6. So when you're taking them off, I think we'll see how these 6 go. I think we'll probably end up still pre-bending the legs, maybe. Ah. The board's that warm, I've lifted up the workroom. Cleaning the board and put him back down. It's either that or the factory haven't soldered that in the best. Get this board clean, and we'll take a look. We'll clean up the bridges and see how well this went down. Let's zoom in and see where we're at. I don't think these are going to be well soldered. We'll ignore bridges to start with, and we'll look at if the pins are down. Actually, let's look at, we'll go to microscope probably. Can we see? Not too bad, to be honest. So we'll clean up the bridges as we go along, I guess. And then we will... Can we get that focusing nicer? All right. We'll get the dental toothpick. That looks quite dark to me. There we go. Right, so fine. It is actually aren't that bad. Probably zoom in a bit more so you can see. Yeah, look, they've flown quite well. I didn't feel or look like it was going to solder well at all. They're all good, so let's get them bridges off there we put on to tack it down in the first place. Let's check these. Yeah, they're actually, you can see they're perfectly soldered. Yep. Yeah, I mean, they don't even need probing. I can see with my eye, they're all soldered down so far, so I'm not even going to push. Ones that I can literally see a perfect bead reflowed. There's no point even pushing because you can see, like with proper vision, I can literally see and tell you these are 100% soldered. Like for example, where you see this wetting here on this bead, this little perfect fillet, this little dip. If I probably go up like this and show you, so you can see. So still doesn't come through as good as the eye. It still looks like you might be able to, because you can see the edge of the legs, you might think it's not soldered, but by the eye I can tell myself that they are, like, all these are perfectly soldered. You don't need to even push. So if you don't see me pushing on them, it's because I'm absolutely confident in the soldering of some of them. But you can literally go across and push every one. I normally do, but I can see it's actually soldered down well. And I wouldn't recommend doing that, by the way, dragging down, because you can cause flakes to go in between the pins doing that. So take your time and probe one pin at a time if you're going to probe them. They're all good. One there. I'll have a look at chat in a minute, by the way. I haven't been looking at chat for a little while, just so I can focus on getting this done. Oh yeah, that's there are 3 pins here that join on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7, 8, and 9 there do actually join I think we said they are the 3 that join. I'm going to update that design as well because it causes this to happen as well. Like visually, you'll get bridges like this over them 3 pins because there's traces under the PCB. There, see the traces, them lines. So when you're reflowing the pins like that, you get this natural 3 bridge there, and it literally looks like you've got a bridge. So on the next design, I'm going to make them traces come out and join here, so the legs don't look like the bridge. But yeah, if you remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's pins 7, 8, and 9 do join there together. So they're all good. Yeah, there's not a single pin there that's been a problem. So to be honest, I was skeptical of that, but that actually went down perfectly fine. So forget the preheater. No point in the preheater. And let's see, I guess, if this works. Right then, what do we need to test? We need this. We need that game that worked for us the other day because we had a game that didn't work as well, like a game slot. This was knackered. So we know this one works. We need the screen. Speaker. Yeah, why did I do that? I normally do it so you can see the screen from this way. Never mind. So that's in. Yeah, we're going to have to flip it over now because I've decided to put the screen in that way for some reason. And then what do we reckon? First one going to work. And again, we don't know whether these ASICs work is the problem. So it's always a gamble between. I'm pretty confident that this board works, though the game works. And the soldering looks solid. So I think if it doesn't work, it's a bad ASIC. And of course, doesn't work. Definitely not working. So let's try. Without this in. Try with just Sonic. Let's give it a clean. Nope. Let's try trademark bridge, because sometimes they boot without that but won't boot with it. Okay, let's just double check that work RAM that lifted off when we were cleaning as a last resort. I mean, the factory did not do a good job of soldering that on. Let's just reflow them pins for the sake. They're soldered better now. That side we already did, so that's fine. One last quick look for shorts. We were checking the pins work, but we weren't really checking for shorts, and I actually do have a short there. Saying that. See that little short above the number 35? I wasn't really looking for the shorts. I was more focused on the expecting the pins be floating. So hopefully that, well, actually, shall we try? No, we'll fix that. The bridge is going to be a problem. I was going to say, shall we try it without the reflowing that bridge first in case it was that workaround, but that bridge won't have helped. Let's give that a go. So there's still hope yet. There we go. So with the fact that these never normally solder right, I'm still just constantly looking out for floating pins and not focusing on the other stuff. So probably should have paid a bit more attention there. Solder bridge on the top left. You're not far off though. We did actually have one middle bottom. Alright, so does the screen work now? No, that's 1 of 6. So we're going to be here a while. Well, I don't know. If we pick up speed and batch them, we could maybe try and batch all the remaining 5 in one go. Hot air 5 off, hot air 5 on. Test them and then look for problems after. I think that's what we'll do because I don't fancy doing one at a time. And then let's see. Yeah, there we go. So that's another one now. We do actually have as well. There's my thing. We've got the streak we did, remember? Where we got 10 in a row. Then we had, of course, the bad one that we double checked. We got the one from yesterday and the one we just done. That's now 6 run in a row. So when we're done with this, we'll either have super pixelated Sonic. We're either going to have like another 11 in a row good, or we're going to break that streak, so we'll see. Alright, that's that one done. Go make a drink and then we'll do another 5. I'm going to try and, like I say, batch these 5 out now. So I think I'll get the connectors and all that crap. Well, no, I'll give that job Zach, actually. You can get the connectors off and stuff. That one's knackered. I'll just get these to this state working and then work through the next ones. Yeah, let me go quickly make a brewski and then we'll move on to the next one. Well, the next 5. I'll get that in a good position. Need a little stand just for the brew stand. Look at that. There we go. Both streams can see. Bridge moved. Yeah, I'll double check that in a second when I've got the coffee. Make sure there's no extra bridges because we might have a bridge on like some of the buttons as well that still boots, but there's a bridge. So I'll check that in a second. And then back, we had a power cut, so none of the hot water was on. One sec, let me just make a phone call as well. Be back in it. Well, I'll stay here, but let me just mute it a second. Right, I'm back. Right, and so we need to. Oh yeah, let me catch one chat first. I've been out the room. I'm just going to look for bridges on here as well. We mentioned there might be. Yeah, let me just move that out of the way and just catch up on chat because I haven't been looking at it for a while. Yeah, I was just saying we had a power cut earlier. And we got like a hot water tap thing, so that obviously didn't kick back in, which I didn't realise. So it took a bit longer to make a coffee. Oh, there's tons and tons of chat. I guess if you guys, if I've missed anything, just ask again, and I'll try and keep a bit more attention on it. There's mountains of chat going on. Oh yeah, I was up to that bit there. Check the bottom right for the bridge. We'll do that in a minute. Apollo RGB. Yeah, I'll be on. I'll probably end up just what we on 2 o'clock. This stream will probably just pause and renew for the subs. I'll probably do it at 4 till 5:30 or something instead of 4:30 till whenever. I'll probably jump on about change the stream over to the sub only one at some point. That's how this will probably work today. And then I can answer any questions on it. Affordable digital microscope. Just go with a real one, an Amtech. They're not that expensive. If you want to go with a digital, then I think it's a Tom Lovol or something like that. Tom Volo. You'll find the make it's all over TikTok and places like that. They're all pretty much the same for budget level ones. But if you go with a real one, go with Amscope or Amtech. I'm on the YouTube horizontal stream or on vertical. For attention, definitely for the public streams. There's so much chat going on. There'll probably be, like I say, that's the kind of the point of the sub only streams. You get a lot more of my attention. Right, let me just check 4 shorts on these. It says loads of messages. I'll try and clear some off. battery. Yes, that's the only change. We didn't do any other changes on that SNES, did we? The SNES Clean RGB. I installed it on the previous stream. It worked, and we've changed 3 resistors. That was all it was. Right, back to looking for. Just because it's booted, we might have shorts on, like controller pins, audio pins, something that's not necessarily. Actually, I don't need to look under the microscope. This is that clear. I can do that, but I will still look under. We just need to double check we don't have shorts. That's what we're looking for. Yep, none there. Those 3 that you see on, as we mentioned there, pin 6, 7, and 8 are actual meant to be shorts, if you know what I mean. They're 3 pins that are connected on the circuit board. Yep, they're all sound. It's a bit of dust there. Oh, well, melamine sponge. Where's my little dental pick thing gone? Get him back out. Yeah, so it's just that. Same again there, that kind of fluid under there is a bit of flux. Yep, they're all good. Last one then. Yep, they all. Oh, notice that I'm looking at the zoomed in microscope on your screen. Can't quite see as much as my eyes see. But yeah, there's no shorts there that I can see of. So we are good. Good to go. Microscope's probably not the best for checking shorts on stream. I should probably just. I think I used to just do this. Like get this one up zoomed in to the max, which it is, and then I think I pulled focus like this. Yeah, so to be honest, for checking shorts, this one's just as good, if not better. Well, it's not really better, but it's good enough for checking shorts, and it's a lot quicker. So I'll probably just use this way next time. But yeah, that's all good and working. Amscope's $500, is it? I could have sworn it was only 180. See, that's the problem when I genuinely don't look at prices of stuff half the time. I thought in my head it was like £200. But yeah, get a digital one, then a Tom so much or other, Tom Volo or something like that. Yeah, what do we need to do now? We're going to batch them all, aren't we? So let's take this off. Keep that. So we need that still. We need that still. That one can be given to Zach with that. Don't know where he's disappeared, but that's another one. So we need to do another. Need to do 4 minimum, but I ideally need 5. One, 2. So let's tell you what. Let's tin all these up first, then. Start with that, and then we'll do everything in a batch fashion, basically. My stream at the minute is, I think I stream 1080p. The cameras are 4K and 6K, but I only stream in 1K at the minute. I don't see much benefit because the quality of this camera is that good that this 1K is better than most people's 4K setup kind of thing. So it's not always just about the pixel size. I think 1K is good enough. 4K would probably be crazy, but I don't know whether it'd handle it. Whether the Blackmagic Capture would handle 4K, because I'm sure the last time I tried 4K streaming straight through, the PCI bandwidth on the motherboard isn't fast enough, because basically it has to have 2 PCI 16 lanes, which is the same thing that your graphics card sits on. Your motherboard has to have 2 of them because they're the Blackmagic capture for capturing 4K streams, even though this is plugged into just a x8, not a x16 at the minute, because we're only running a few cameras, it works. But I've got a vague memory I did actually try this with 4Ks, and it would just stutter and lose frames because the bandwidth of the PCI lanes is what I narrowed it down to on the motherboard itself weren't high enough. I think those two pins are joined at the bottom, aren't they? Those two pins and those two pins, yeah, that's why they're joining. Those two are grounds that join together. Yeah, so I'm sure we could try a 4K stream at some point, which might be absolutely mental. But what you see in 4K, I think this might be the 4K anyway. Is it? Let me just move this camera around. I'm going to probably mess things up doing this, but what can I do to realign this? Nothing. But no, it isn't. So I was going to say, is this 4K and stretched out? It isn't. I could mess around on the stream, but I'm not going to. But yeah, I can capture much higher res than this. But like I say, I don't think there's a massive benefit in terms of visual, because the camera's already good, basically. All right, so that's one. Next one in. Yeah, I've got that many microscopes as well. Like I say, I've probably got some spare, to be honest. I know I've got one that I show off at the top right of me that I just can't, for my eyes, I can't focus on it. Which I could sell because I'm never going to use it. And I think I might have another scope in the garage. I think I also checked in the garage and I've still got, I thought I'd sold them all. I think I've still got two. Actually, probably want a bit more solder on there. I think I've got two, might be Handtech, but if not, two like bench oscilloscopes still. And I've still got about 6 more bench power supplies as well. So if anybody wants them, I think I was doing them for like 60 quid. They're all worth hundreds. But I've been doing pretty much a boiler £60 fee for anything I'm flogging at the minute. So you guys wanted a bench power supply or a tabletop oscilloscope, I've still got a few of them left. That's 2 pre-tinned. Oh yeah, the Waller's definitely, it's like I say, it was my first expensive iron I brought, basically. Once I could afford them, they were like £600-700 at the time, and I've just gone back to it. So it's got to be 10 years old at least, I'd say, this Waller. And it was the same tips. This is now the new tip, but I grabbed the same tips that we used all them years ago, and they still work. So definitely worth an upgrade. And if you get a used one now, WD1 or I think it's a WD2 because it's got 2 ports you can connect to. They're only like £200 used. And then obviously you've got to get your soldering iron in your tips and that. The tips are actually £40 each, like £30-40. But they do last, so that's the benefit. Yeah, chat between vertical and portrait. They merge for me, but they don't come up on screen. Because we limited it to sub-only chat. So if you're subbed, it'll appear on all the streams. If you're not, then you'll only see the chat. You know, people's chat that are subbed, basically, or people that are in that exact format. Oh yeah, I plan to make this this do auto fan. I brought a cable, just a RJ45, or well, it's not 45, it's RJ11, something like that, telephone cable that plugs into the extractor. I'm going to figure out what this switch does, and then I'm going to make either a motion sensor under the actual thing, maybe like a motion sensor under here, so if I move my arm past, it kicks in, but you have to be fairly close, something like that. And I could always just waft the hand to make it kick in, or maybe do something with I don't know, some kind of detection basically. I could also just detect when the iron's lifted out the stand and kick it in that way as well. But yeah, that's already one of my ideas to do when I get 5 minutes. Move this back over on the vertical. So I can never get this vertical stream to stay where I want it in terms of matching up the horizontal. Have you got the stuff for that GPO? You know, that one that's just come in. That.
What GPO?
You know, the GPO this morning. The 5-day open. Yeah. Yeah, it's done. It's cool. Because he's messy. I think it's international, isn't it? That's why. So he's kind of panicking about getting it for Christmas.
I told DHL that not coming out, so there's nothing for you.
Today or?
Yeah.
There you go. Last ones. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is the 5th board. Oh, 2 ASIC. Have we got any 2 ASICs? So I need another 1 ASIC. My tracking camera didn't manage to track me around the corner. What are we doing? We are building a load of Game Gears at the minute. So we've got, I can find all my bits. We've got a load of re-PCBs, these are, so a Game Gear board I've made. With a box full of Game Gears down here. This is all full of Game Gears. And these are all non-working ones. So basically taking the main chip off the Game Gears, 1 ASIC chips. This is like the heart of the Game Gear. And transplanting it onto these and then building them up into fully built consoles. These are all sold, so these are just literally batching for orders. But we've got to get 6 done. I've done 1. We've got 5 more, so I'm just going to do all 5 in a row, basically. Yeah. Soak the sponge in IPA. Have you been using just a dry sponge to clean the board? That defo won't work. Well, it would, but that'd be squeaky. I'll go back and get that short in the top middle in a second. Right, I think that's all good. So we have 5 boards. Now we need to take 5 chips off. So next we'll get 5 Game Gears. 5. Ooh, someone's what do we reckon with this one? This has already been transplanted to an SYF board at some point. So that means somebody's already hot at this, already had a go, and also failed. So what do you think the chances of this thing still working are? I mean, the pins don't look... They don't look like they're damaged, but they also don't look like they've soldered, which is, obviously, as we know, not the easiest thing on these. Oh yeah, look at that, just floating pins. First one I've gone to floating. Floating, yeah, so this won't work because they're not soldered down. So exactly what we experienced when we first tried it. So it's probably just, they've done a transplant, it's not stuck down. And they presumed it doesn't work maybe. So I think we'll still try that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do them 5. Maybe we'll just put a grind mark on this. Where's my new grinder tool thing? Oh, I went back to the old one then. Just put an S on this, I guess. So we know that was on the SYF board. And then be curious whether that one works or not. If it doesn't, it could be because whoever's taking it off has obviously done damage. We'll put flux on, maybe. Nah, I'm not going to put flux on for take them off. I'm just going to take them off, actually. Right, so let's just remove 5 chips. What I'm going to do is try and put them upside down when I'm done. Flip them upside down so I don't bend legs, basically. That's the goal. Yeah, you can get, there's a few boards. I think SYF was the first person to build one, I think, pretty sure. We used to use them at the start, but we just couldn't get used to them. The amount we were building, it was more hassle using the boards. And I think the main issue was the connectors, you know, like the little connectors, the ribbon connectors, the ones they were using on these boards just never seemed reliable. Plus the price of buying somebody else's built board was more than making it yourself as well. So then we have to charge customers more. So we did used to use these at the start. And then I think China, there's various Chinese companies that make multiple boards. Nothing like, you know, this level. I think most of theirs are just like, I guess they are all similar. I think there's Funny Plane maybe do one. I think they do. And then generic Chinese companies do them as well. But obviously, you know, the white one's the best. You want to stick with them. We're actually last to the game. I think it's like, this is the newest board. There's been obviously multiple boards already on the market before we released one. Right, this one will probably come off a bit quicker as well, with it being, I presume they've used leaded solder. Could be wrong. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try. Nah, I was going to say I'm getting tempted already to go back to my normal 480 Celsius, considering I know it's just the VDP that dies with heat, but let's just keep the temps lower. Just takes so much longer. That's one, so I'm going to lift him up flip over, drop on the board like that. That's one. You can go in the bin now. And then rinse and repeat 4 more times. To be honest, we can also go as close as we want removing them, because we don't care about thermally stressing the board, because we're not using the board. I do have that chip that sits completely over this ASIC, the exact shape that would be faster. But I just don't like using it because you can't see what you're doing on the chip. You can't kind of observe where the chip is and nudge it into position and push it down and stuff like that. So might be worth swapping over to that nozzle for removing and then swapping back to this for putting back down, but I don't know. Don't know if it's worth the hassle. Look at that one come off quicker. Smells like chips. Like deep fried chips. Maybe do this for you as well. Bit of a difference. There we go. Yeah, the V4 I've been, the clean screen, I've been doing all the code for it the last few days as well. Got some really cool features. If you're in the Elite Members channel, I think I've been posting it there. Some of the updates on it. The hot air I'm running at the minute, I'm running 400. So I'm slowly creeping back up to my 480. So I've gone from, it was running at 330. We proved that everything was fine at 330. Just too slow. Like, I think it was really, realistically too slow, and it was more cautious until we get used to making sure we don't kill chips the other way. I started at 380 on the video, and then I crept it up to 400 for the first one. The first one's been removed, then preheated to 200. It's had hot air on it, taken off, cleaned, put down another time. So it's had a lot of work at the 400 and works first time. So at the minute we're running 400, and I'll do all these at 400. And then if they all work, we know for a fact we're fine on that. If we see any issues, it might be bad ASICs, it might be temp. We'd have to then lower down the temps to be sure, because we wouldn't know at the minute whether it's then the higher temps or just bad ASICs. We haven't done enough to really figure that out yet, but 400 at the minute, and it seems to be, it was working nicely now. The speed is fairly okay, I think, at this 400, so probably like to keep it there. Soldier 9 tips that go all over the pins. Yeah, you can get loads of different kinds. Like, you're on about just the big wedges. I think I've got one somewhere. Probably put it away now. But to be honest, with Soldier 9 tips, I've never needed anything except the knife tip. Like, it does everything. I've tried the, obviously I use the gull as well, or you can use the bent tips, but really you can do all the soldering jobs with one iron tip. You rarely need more than one iron tip. You just have to learn how to use it in different ways. I think the only benefit to the ones that go over multiple pins is, like, if you're removing components and you're not using hot air, then heating up all the pads at once is obviously useful. See, getting used to it now, getting familiar with the timing, and not having to keep checking and stuff. Last one, and then we'll be dropping all of them on. And I'd ideally like to get, similar to the 2 ASIC, where I give out the guide of exact times and positions. So, you know, start with the hot air up here for 30 seconds, drop down for 30 seconds, push down for 20, gain it to that exact level of accuracy. I can drop the 2 ASICs on with that, you know, my eyes shut, basically. I'd like to get enough practice with these to be able to kind of do the same thing. Thought I got a VA4 for a minute then. It's still a VA1. So that's all them off. And now I think we can go straight to dropping onto the new boards, I think. So we can just bring one of these in. Flux up. Now, what do you reckon with the position thing? Shall we just see if we need to position it first? Because, right, this is the SYF board one. So this is one that's already been worked on. Put that hot air down a minute. So, I reckon yeah, there we go. Again, 2A6 don't have to align much. I'm trying to get used to it where we don't waste time aligning the chip and we just let the surface tension pull in. But what, like I say, what we've seen and found with these chips is they don't align, they just float and blow off with hot air. So let's just see. Probably want the extractor on now as well. Yeah, JBC have got quite a lot of tip options. Hopefully, I might be getting some JBC stuff soon. In January, if all goes well. So we'll be able to see how that compares to Wala. Could even maybe play with them, you know, custom tips as well. But like I say, I think if you practice enough with the one tip you've got, you can do all the jobs you need. I try to keep the amount of tools you need to do the job down to a minimum as well. That's why I don't use this custom tip on the hot air, because it's just another thing you then need to do the job when you shouldn't really need it. Extra flux on now, and then let's go for a warm up and push down. They just don't seem to visually look like you're doing anything. This is the main problem I find with these 1A6 is they don't look like they're flowing. The pins don't change and the flux doesn't bubble, and it just doesn't look like it's going down. You just have to trust the process, really. Let's say that's well, I would have said that's enough, but we're an entire pin out on the right side. We need to align it better. We've pushed down and we're completely one pin out over there, if I'm not mistaken. And there we go. Let's try that again. Favorite retro console? There's a few. Desktop probably between PlayStation 1 and Xbox original. Handheld's got to be obviously the Game Boy. Probably the. To be honest, the colour's probably got more natural memory for me because that's the one I used. I don't really remember using the GBA as a kid, but I remember the original, and then I remember when the colour come out, like how impressive that was. So probably like the. I think I prefer the GBA now, but as a kid, the GBC was the one that I used the most. Have you ever sneezed and fucked some stuff up? Oh yeah. I've sneezed, electrocuted myself, chucked things across the room from being jolted, blown things up with mains. We've done all sorts. Chips out there. I think what we'll do with each of these as well, save stopping and inspecting all these pins. Looks generally right. You can see obviously we've got some shorts here. We might need to bend pins here maybe. I'm just going to get them tacked down, move on to the next ones, get them all down, and then we'll do the inspection, like I say, batch run it. So do all the steps in batches basically. So what did I think? See, I just don't think these, I don't know, they don't feel like they go down. That's the biggest problem with these, is they just physically feel like, and visually, like you can't tell that I think it's just because the pins are so small. They just don't seem to look like they'll be flowing, if that makes sense. Like with the 2A66, you can see everything happening. You get a feel for it. You see the, the flux flow. With these, I just feel like you can't see anything happening, you know what I mean? It's just all based on the time you expect it to take, basically. And I think we even need to, I need to like zoom in like that sometimes to see. Like there, so see like that end pin's bent a little bit. That's slightly off. Yeah, you need to be quite zoomed in to tell. But then it's too zoomed in to work on. And then that leg goes down, so it's like surface tension just doesn't work for you in this instance on these. Like if you don't align these, they just don't pull in. They just kind of they just stay exactly where they are. So we'll see. Do another one. Speaking of sneezes, I've got one coming now with us. I swear every time I go on stream, it's like dust or something under the desk when I'm working. It gets right up my nose sometimes. Yeah, the Game Boy Color. I'm sure the one I had was purple. Is it I don't know what colour it's officially called, or maybe it was the green, the teal colour. I can't remember which one I had. I think I had multiple though, because I think once I'd got one, after a while I wanted another, as you do. So I'm sure I had both colours, but I can't really remember. It's either the blue or the teal. The purple or the teal. It's the colour I remember. But I think I prefer the purple now. I'd say the purple's my favourite original Game Boy colour. I might try that Solder King Flux actually on this next one. See how it compares to this again. Original consoles, no, unfortunately, I've got none. I'll see what I mean with these. They just disappear. What the? Nearly just blow it straight back into position. What the hell? Disappeared and then just went almost perfectly back to the start. No, I've got none. None of the original ones I had, unfortunately. No, I'm going to get this pushed down before he goes wanders again. Yeah, so these things definitely don't stay down. They don't naturally reflow with surface tension, that's for sure. So I think the next ones will just tack into position like we did one of the others, just because I think stops that happening. Are we even remotely aligned over here? We're quite a way off there. I mean, they're all on, so it's going to work, but yeah, quick glance, that's fine. We can always remedy any issues after, so I'm going to say that one's okay. Just slightly off to the side, but not enough that it's it's touching pins or anything. It is perfectly fine in terms of connection. Yeah, see, we moved house at start of high school, so I don't know. How old are you when you go to high school?
When you go back,
Yeah.
12, 13.
Yeah, so we moved at 12, which is right around the time when I'd have probably stopped using them. It was like, I think PlayStation 1 and Xbox were coming out, so they probably just got sold or left at the house we moved away from. So yeah, I've got none of them, not one of them. That's two. Now I'm going to try Solder King Flux on this one, what we used to use, and just see how it compares. How many tubes have you got? Solder King Flux. What have I done with that? Brought like 3 didn't I? What's it look like? That's not the brought. I brought 3. But I put them in a tub over here, but I can't. Definitely did put them in a tub somewhere. The camera actually managed to follow me to the shelf for once. And so we've got this stuff as well. So we used to sell this, I just stopped selling it. Solder King Flux. I'm gonna give this a go. Because this used to be when we couldn't get Amtech stuff, because every time you try to buy it, it was always fake. We wanted a way of finding some flux we could just buy confidently and not have to keep trying to, make sure it's not fake. I always forget to do this as well. Push the tube in first, the connector in. So you have to put the cap back on to lock that connector in and then take that off. And there we go. Yeah, so trying to source Amtech was the problem because everything's always fake. So we found, I just tried loads and loads and loads of different fluxes and solders, and we pretty much found that Solder King were the only one that competed with Amtech. But I just then, once I found Styri, I went to that myself. But let's just try this again. Go back to Solder King and we'll see directly how it compares to that last one. So let's put another chip down. You know what, did I even put the other chip on the right way? I wasn't even paying attention. Yeah, that chip's on with the Sega faciness. Thought for a minute then I'd just put it on a random way. Right, so we said we're gonna tack this down, didn't we? Gate in position and tack it down. Just so it doesn't fly off as easily. So I guess zoom in extra like that. On the VRAM it says 652256 is meant to be 1.2, I presume. I'd have to check my my schematic, because sometimes I can send it to the factory. Some factories, they redo the silk screen, so they'll, even though you send them a silk screen, they'll kind of remake it, even though you don't ask them to, and redraw it. Just so when they're printing, sometimes they have setups with printers and things, and they prefer redoing silk screens. It kind of annoys me when I'll make a silk screen very accurate, and then sometimes they just remake it without asking me. Or it could well be a typo. Or it could be that it's meant to be that. Alright, so that's, no, that didn't even tack in. I was about to say that's tacked down now. I didn't even manage to blob solder on it. Right, let's get you two tacked down. Right, they're on. They're on. Just tack a few more. Now it's in position. There we go. Plenty of pads tacked down. And now let's hot air this one and see how this goes. Yeah, the Game Gear, if it's your original Game Gear, definitely, it'll definitely be dead if it's not had caps, because they pretty much all leak. But you might be lucky, you might just recap it and it'd be fine. Uh, 65256, yeah, so it's shouldn't have two twos in. I can check while we're warming this board up. I'll check the see if I can do it with my other hand so I can get to the PC. TV's going to turn itself off as well, of course it will. G, 3 PCB, hardware, 1 ASIC, grab that, and we'll open up schematics. GG, 1 ASIC. I'm not at all looking at what I'm doing with the hot air either. I'm just staring at the screen, looking at the schematics at the minute. a good test for Solder King. Flux not even looking at what's going on. Okay, let's maybe... Now this is probably warmed up, we'll definitely focus back on this solder in a minute first, and then we'll I'll look at the schematics after. Jeez, I can't get the flux to come out of that needle end. I need a fatter tip on that. You know what, I think that's better. Is that just me, or did that flow a hell of a lot better? Like I could see all the pins reflowing. I'm sure that was better. I'll have to try that on the next one. That definitely looks better as well to me. Is that just me? Or that's definitely flown better. Look at them pins. Alright, so then compare it to this one. Look at that. Look at the difference. Look at all them pads. And go back to the Solder King one. There's no question there. Every single leg. And then go back to the other. Yeah, there's no question. Look at all the imperfections on all the legs. See all that, just the random textures on all these legs. All like second pin in there, all them pitting and spotting. Go back to the other one. That's without a shadow of a doubt better. So let's put the stereo away for now. I'm going to put the larger tip on the Solder King for now. Right, we're going to have to heat that back up because it's going to cool down quite a bit now, so all the flux is going to be harder to clean. And fourth one. Oh, we've got a big solder blob there. Where'd you get Solder King from? You have to really be a professional because they don't sell to the public directly. So that's why we used to sell it. I might sell it again, to be honest. If you guys want it, I can always reach out. The reason we stopped selling it is we had we ordered some solder. We used to sell a solder as well, and we ordered loads of I think it was lead-free solder at the time. Sorry, leaded solder, and they sent us like 20 lead-free solder. Basically, we ordered one, we got the other. We returned it at our cost as well at the post office. They didn't send the new ones out, so customers were waiting on orders. They then said they never received it back, and you're talking about like a £500 order. Eventually, we ended up proving it had been sent back and that they just lost it in the warehouse. But by then, to be honest, I just got pissed off with how we got treated for as a customer, which I'm sure I've done the same to our own customers. None of us are perfect, but I just didn't like the fact that we advertised them freely, promoted them all the time, sold them for basically no profit. You don't make much profit reselling them. And the minute we had one issue, we basically got told like, oh, we haven't got it, and we had to wait weeks and weeks and go to the ends of the earth to prove we sent something back. It just left a bitter taste in my mouth, so we just stopped selling it. But if it works better than what we've got, I'll probably contact them again anyway to sell it. If you guys wanted to buy it, you can probably find it online if you look around. It'll be hard to find, but there'll be a few places. The irony is, all of our competition in the retro scene started selling exactly the same stuff. So the Solder King Flux, the Solder King Solder, anything we used to sell that we no longer sell, like tools wise, of all the things, they'd even sell the exact same version of stuff that we did all the legwork for, found out what was good, and then they just contact our suppliers and sell exactly the same stuff. The usual story. So you might find it on a competition's website, or like I say, if you want it, I can start selling it again, chuck it on in some section. We don't really have a tools section on the website anymore, but I can find a place, chuck it on there. Wow, I can't even get a leg to tack down. What's going on? Let's go up to the top, get this somewhat aligned. That's miles off. Yeah, it's aligned enough, I'd say. That's tucked in, that's tucked in. That's tucked in. Right, let's go for it. Yeah, they say that, but I don't think it does. It just pisses you off, really. No one likes to do all the hard work and then somebody else just reap the rewards at the end. It's like, you know, just annoys you more than anything. What temp can the chip withstand? I've soldered pretty much every chip for years, like 480 degrees Celsius. The only one we've recently found out does die with heat is the Game Gear 2 ASIC. For that, I've had to lower the temps right down to like 330. I soldered them at to be really safe. But these are all going on at 400. I've done like that many now, so 16. At the higher temps, no issues. So these are likely all fine at 400. Most chips are literally 480 degrees Celsius all day long. You've got no issue. But specifically, the Game Gear 2 ASIC is temperature sensitive. So that's why the one ASIC, until we've done more of them, I'm going at 400. But to be honest, this 400's working fine. It's quick enough, it's working. I don't think there's a need to go hotter than that. This is like got a good balance between speed and doing its job without risking too much heat. Oh yeah, it's yeah, it's the same thing. It's hiding behind that story though, isn't it? That's why. Best way to get away with something is to point the finger in the other direction. Yeah, this is definitely refilling. Look at these pins. Look at how they change from solid to molten as you're going down. This is what we weren't seeing on the one ASIC. Like, you see it on the 2 ASIC, but yeah, just look at that reflowing. And watch up here as we go up. If you watch here, course, you haven't really seen it. I think they're already molten, that's why, like liquefied. But there, go across here, see them change. So yeah, this flux is definitely better. Go back down here then, and then I think now we'll push down. And then carry on around to reflow for the last step. And that should do it. Let's see if this one comes out as clean. And yeah, you can already see, look at the side, look how smooth all the joints are. So yeah, I definitely think this is better. What we're repairing, we are building a bunch of game gears. So building 6 game gears using our re-PCB. So this board you can see here is basically a remade game gear board. So we've got the original game gears here, we've robbed the main chip. And then we've got our boards here that I've made that we're putting the chip on. And then basically making new game gears from it. Wonder if the Solder King's actually UV reactive as well. It probably isn't. Let's have a look. Oh, it is as well. Hard to see on camera because of the light, but yeah. Why can't you see that as well on camera? I can see it dead clear. See the, yeah, see on my hands the UV, so I presume this will, yeah, fluoresce. So we put some down here. You can see, you can now see where you're cleaning, so UV reactive. Let me go to this camera maybe. Yeah, see how, so you can really see where that is. So when you're cleaning up, you can check you've cleaned up right. You can also see how much UV flux you've got on your hands when you're working away. So yeah, like I didn't even notice that about the fluxes for a good while, that you can actually check with the UV light if you've cleaned up. Right, so on this one, do we... I don't think we'll bother cleaning up the bridges yet where we tack down. Well, like I say, we'll do all the inspection and clean up in one go. So we've got one more now, and then it's clean up and see how many work. So it's definitely quicker just batching them all. Wasn't this, has the Solder King always been that clear colour as well?
Yeah, it's like a bit yellow.
Yeah, but when it's on the board it's clear. I could have sworn it was like more yellow on the board before. But yeah, it's definitely better than what I'm using. 100%. Just smells more though, I think. But you thought it didn't smell as much, didn't you? I think it's probably different nose, isn't it? My nose is dead to half the smells. But it's definitely, it's soldering these chips way better. That's close enough. The video and workram are the generic in a sense. They're just off-the-shelf parts. We've got factories in China we've worked with for years that source these. So these are like unused or barely used refurbished chips. So what we try to get is what's called old new stock, which is, it was made 15, 20 years ago, but never, used. So there's factories in China that hoard these chips for resale value for things like this. So, oh yeah, we haven't tacked the chip down. The workrams and the video rams, we haven't had a single one of our boards yet have an issue with those components. They're basically, you might as well think of them as new, but they aren't anything, they're not specific to the Game Gear, they're just generic RAM and CPU and stuff. So you're not losing anything by not having the original Game Gear's chip put on. You could always put them on if you wanted, just for sentimental value as well. You could take the chips off your Game Gear and put them on if you really wanted to do the extra work. And that's aligned enough. Those legs are a little bit bent there, so probably might just want to bend him in because he's going to end up tacking to the wrong leg. That's it. Yeah, close enough. Can't remember whether we put flux down or I think we did. Oh, actually, I think we did, but never mind. Certain temp to remove the solder. Remove it. It all depends on what I'm doing. If I'm removing the chip, hot air, 400 Celsius, 80% airspeed. Soldering iron is always universally, I think, 380 or 400. I'm running it at. Let me see. 400 my soldering iron is, but anywhere from 380 to 400. I never really change that on the soldering iron. That's for pretty much every job. Just if you're removing a big, massive, heavy thing, or you're soldering big planes, I change the tip to like a fat wedge, like a big knife tip. But that's rare. If I'm removing heavy planes, I usually use hot air. Yeah, if you want to get into this as well, if you sub to YouTube or Twitch, like member on YouTube or sub on Twitch, I do sub-only streams where I teach this as well, so that's perfect if you want to get into this and have a bit more one-to-one time. You can obviously watch the public streams and I'll answer the chat where I can, but if you want more of one-to-one, just, you know, be a member on the channel, basically. Yeah, this CPU, in a sense, called the ASIC, which is nothing specific to a Game Gear. It's just a term for a chip that's been made specific for a device. So application-specific integrated circuit. This is custom to the Game Gear. There is a CPU on the 2 ASIC, which is called the Z80. That's just a generic CPU. And then there's 2 ASICs, one for video display and audio, and the other one for game processing. And then this one ASIC, this thing here, then integrated the video display processor, the custom CPU, and the Z80 CPU all into one chip. So yeah, this is only, you can only get this on Game Gears, you can't get it anywhere else. And that's why, again, that's why we keep the ASIC. If you don't bother putting the ASIC on, you're basically making an emulator at that point, whereas if you're keeping the ASIC and everything else is new, in my eyes, it's still a Game Gear. You've still got the real hardware running the game and driving the screen and everything. So, yeah, this solder is absolutely, the solder flux is 100% better. This is flowing on like a 2 ASIC now. All the pins are smooth. Everyone, it's definitely better. I was guessing with the first one, but after doing, 3 with that flux now, that's definitely better. Let's see. If we can spot the difference, which I'm sure you can, between the Solder King soldered ones and the Styri ones. We zoom in. Let's go right in. So there's one set of legs. There's another, which is also Solder King You can see how they're smooth, even though there's a bit less and they're not quite as well aligned, and we haven't cleaned it as much yet. They're still smooth. Third one, smooth. And then we get to the two that we've done with the Amtech flux, and look straight away. I mean, it's done its job, but pitting all along here. And then the other one, again, looks fine, but I'm sure it's not just me how you can see the massive difference between those legs and those legs. Just like, and that's the worst of them when I was practicing. I think this is the best one. Yeah, look at that. That versus that, but I'd have to pull focus. So that's the Stewie, effectively the Amtech style. And then that is the Solder King. So it's definitely working better. They've both done the job by the looks, but I'm definitely going to use that for now. So we've got the 5 chips soldered down. We've obviously got to now zoom in, check the pins, and quickly remove any shorts and then power them up and see how many work. Yeah, I'm all self-taught, all of this, so no formal education at all. Yeah, solder fumes and burn through me. To be honest, all my nose issues came about with COVID. Lost a lot of the smell from then, but at the same time, you know, when you lose your smell, I know what didn't help is we've got a hot tub and I've got chlorine tablets you put in, and I was checking if I could smell, so I got the chlorine and sniffed and couldn't smell anything, but then coughed my guts up, so I think I'd snorted chlorine up my nose, so that probably didn't help with the smell either. But yeah, I've never had the smell right since then, really. Right, I'm going to make another drink and then we'll check all these and boot them all up, and then I'll probably jump straight onto the sub-only stream. So we'll probably start that early. I'll probably jump on Discord now and just let people know. Because it's meant to be in like an hour and 20. I might as well check these and then jump onto it. I might have the quick break anyway in between, but let me just chuck it on Discord. I'm again, so Game Boy Color, that has a flexible charging board, that's clean juice, definitely won't be soldered into console. Right, and back in a minute. There's my coffee break. Let them back. Oh, we got a new sub while we're out. Right. Let's see how many of these work. So, no particular order. Just start with this one and let's take a look. Under the cam. Zoomed into max. Digital zoom a bit. And then what we're looking for, well, to be honest, under the scope, I kind of need to look under the scope for missing pins, like loose pins. But based on how well these look soldered, he says. Oh, that actually is on. I thought that without having the 3D vision, I thought that one was loose, but it's not. So they all look sound, to be honest. Again, just looking for the shorted pins. What we'll do is probably just look for shorted pins, and then if they don't work, we'll then check under the scope for floating pins. Let's just have confidence that these have soldered well. Now we've got a bit more used to it. That's what I'm basically going to do. And I think actually, even though these two are tacked, I'm pretty sure these two are shorted on the circuit board. I keep forgetting, but I'm sure the top right and bottom left pins are actually shorted on the PCB. So you're not gonna get that bridge off there once it joins together, because they're actually shorted on the PCB. I can check myself because obviously I made this board. So let me just pull this up, and I guess I can show you as well, just so you can see. Bring them over, pull up the screen, and then obviously this is usually on a massive screen, so we can see here those two pins are basically ground. So that's why if I could just select the two pins, well, select the top one, go to 3D view, you can see these two pins are shorted naturally, and down here these two pins are, so they aren't a short. And then the pins I'm on about that always join is due to this trace running between them. So it's probably really bad practice to run a trace that way because of how it then visually looks when you solder the pins they can join. So I'll move them to a different way after. Let's see if it was me with a typo. Yeah, so it's a typo on my end here. That should just have 1 2 in. So the factory didn't do anything wrong there. Right, so let's get back to looking for shorts, I guess. So all they look okay. So I reckon this one, fine. Let's move on to the next one. Let's inspect them all, then power them all up after. So this one you can tell straight away is one with the Stevie flux. You can literally see it by just looking at it. So I think the camera's not actually pointing straight down either. Oh no, it isn't. The camera's actually got a bit of an angle on, so it's not a complete top-down view unless I tilt the board. Yeah, see all these legs are slightly moved down. This is the one I said where they're actually quite far down, but they don't short the other pins. So they're fine. Yep, that's fine. Those are fine. Let's just check those aren't moving, because they look to me. Again, if I looked under the microscope, I don't know, but from 2D vision, it's hard to tell. Yeah, they're all soldered well. So they look, that's literally nothing to do on that board. Third one. We'll have to get rid of this bridge that we obviously added to tack. So what I'll probably do when I'm tacking them down is tack these two, because they're the two that would be shorted anyway. So you don't have to remove bridges. Makes a bit more sense, doesn't it? Again, let's just quickly check a few of these legs, just spot checking. Yep, solid. Yep, no shorts. 2 pins there, but again, that was same thing again though. That was where we tacked down, so the soldering, like the reflow, hasn't caused that. But actually saying that, these are the 2 pins, even though now I've just joined 3 together. Now 4 together. Doing a good job there. Those bottom 2 pins are actually joined on the board, so we didn't actually need to touch there, and now I've just made a nice mess of the pins. Yeah, I'm going to have to use some desolder work on there. Made a nice bodge of that one. I don't know whether chat is actually frozen as well. By the way, if you guys are chatting, nothing at all is coming through since I've come back in. I might have to... well, I'll send a test chat actually to make sure chat is working. Let me just do a ping just to see. And then at least if I know chat's working. Yeah, it's just no one's chatting, that's fine. Ooh, shit. Just dipped me coffee in me Pro Bleeds. Right, so go along there. Not massively a fan of that one. Looks a little bit close to the other one. There we go. Yeah, that all looks good. So we're not doing bad here. 2 more down. Ooh, don't like the look at this one. Yeah, they're all on. You just see how this pin looks. Oh, I think I pushed it down with my iron. This is the leg we were tacking on, so I've pushed him down. But to be honest, they are on as well. Yep, no issues there. No issues there. They are meant to be tacked, so I'm not going to touch them. These don't look again great to me here. Yeah, so that's the first one that isn't soldered. None of them. And there, again, it's not from the reflow, it's from the fact the legs are too high up. So it still does hold true that these legs do float, because none of this down here is soldered. So let's just... But we haven't done bad. We've done... This is 4 or 5 boards now we're up to. And we haven't had a floating pin. Well, I say that. We haven't really hard checked, but... So it could be, again, you don't want to redo, you know, tons of extra steps if you can help it. Basically, you want to try and keep down the number of extra steps you need to do on a job if it's not always required, because you just make life more complicated. So I think that most of these pins seem like they've worked on most of these boards. I won't necessarily want to bend every single chip's legs down just for the sake of one chip not having the legs down. But if we find that this happens more, then we'd probably make it standard to, you know, do all the pins. And then I'll probably still go over these under the scope, at like not necessarily on stream because it'll be boring if they work. I'll still go on the actual scope and check every pin to make sure everything's soldered down, because if they work but they're floating and then you send them to a customer and they move, you kind of, you know, it could work for you here, and then as soon as it's built up or bends a bit, the pins could disconnect. So I'd still double check all these pins under a scope, basically. So this has probably been the worst one, just because that lower end didn't seem soldered. But all the others seem fine. So one more. What will cause a Game Gear to widescreen? Game loads up and got sound. But widescreen. What screen have you got? Original or modded? So those top two I'm going to leave bridged because they are bridged on the PCB. So we can leave that solder there, no problem. AliExpress screen, it could literally be anything really. It depends on the brand. Is it a Hi-Speedo, Funny Plane? To be honest, I've not really used them, so I can't advise too much on them, but I know for ours, yeah, our code's not really going to help you. I was going to say on ours it'll boot up with like, you know, black screen or border if it locks on. If there's an on-screen menu, see if that brings up. But if you've got your sound, you could have a faulty ASIC. It's just not that common at all. That if you get no screen but an actual working sound, it's very rarely the ASICs. If it is, then it's normally the CPU, the left ASIC. I've only seen it once where you have a game load and audio, but the CPU, the left one on the 2 ASIC, doesn't output video. Like it outputs a flat screen color, but that's rare. I'd say more than likely you just got a bad screen or bad connection between the screen and the chips, and the Game Gear is most likely okay. The best course would be to swap it. You know, if you've got another screen, swap the screen kit around to see if that's the issue or not. Yeah, so all these seem pretty good, to be honest. Like, obviously I can check them all if we have issues, but I'd say a quick glance now at all them, these all seem like we're in a position to test them. Start with this one. Should we just go for audio first? Where have I put the speaker? There. I think we'll just go for an audio boot. First one. Ooh, no. Nope, nothing on that one. Next one. And bear in mind, we've not checked any of these under the scope yet, so we haven't really checked for floating pins, we just checked for shorts, really. Nope. Two out. Try a third. And we could just have a dirty Sonic as well. It might not be loading. So we might try. Yep, 3. Seems a bit odd, get 3 in a row, doesn't it? Let's try. the Sonic in. No, well, maybe they're all screwed. Maybe they've all got floating pins. That's 3, 4. Something seems off on it. 4 in a row. Let's try. Oh yeah, I'm being an idiot. 1A6 have the trademark screen that takes about 4 seconds to load. So let's try them again. Impatience. So 1 working. Let's go. Put them back in the pile and start again. I'm not used to doing the 2A6 where they boot within like 2 seconds. I'm forgetting this one shows the blue screen for like 2 seconds and then boots. Right, let's be a bit more patient. Yeah, so that's another one. So probably just impatience. So two out of 2 working. Makes a bit more sense. I thought it was a bit strange. Three out of 3. It's gone from non-working to all working. 2 more. And if so, that's then 6 A6 in a row we've got good. So it's looking like the 1A6 might be fairly stable in terms of likelihood of them being working boards. Seems like it's going to be quite high. Yeah, another one working. So last one, and this will be 6. 6 for 6 if so. Got to check the screens and that, but that's very unlikely to be a problem. That one's actually got no boot light. It's not coming out of red light boot, so this one has a problem. So let's just take a look under the scope for that one, because that's literally not coming out of reset. So it's probably going to be, actually, let's use the scope. Probably going to be actual solder issues on this one, I'd say. So first looking for shorts, even though we've already looked for shorts. It's pretty hard for you to see on the microscope. It's clearer for me than it is for you on this. I mean, these are quite dirty pins there. Got quite a lot of residual grime from the old board there. But I don't think that'd change much. Those 2 pins. They are meant to be shorted. They're the 2 ground. And that one's floating, and that's actually probably a clock pin based on where it is. That's quite an important signal. So that one here, see the floating pin. So that might be the issue. I'm sure that is one of the clocks. So let's see, we get red light plugging in. No, still doesn't come out of red light. Oh yeah, all these pins down here are loose as well. So same thing. That's two out of the 6 then of hard kind of floating pins. So even if you solder them down well, you kind of still need to push them down sometimes. That's it. Let's see if that comes out of red light. Yeah, that's out of red light now, so let's see if that was the only issue. So now you can see if I plug the USB in, it comes out. So let's try again with a game. Speaker. Oh, let's see. Oh, that is going then. Yeah, that's all 6. Let's try a random one with a screen. Oh, the screen's here. And ribbons. Let's try this. So that will be on our little sheet as well now. Let's try and keep tabs. So we had 6 before, we've done 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're up to, and that's not the most clear guide because of them. We've done 22 and we've had 1 faulty. 1 faulty ASIC. So it's looking pretty good for like reliability wise, just as a general idea for people building them or using them. For, you know, it's ideal for kind of saying, whereas the 2 ASIC stuff isn't really relevant now because we found out it was the heat killing them. So once we build more of them, we'll do the same kind of thing, keep a score going of how many work versus don't, and then it gives you a bit of an idea what to expect of your, you know, likelihood of it being an ASIC versus your soldering. Whereas for the 1 ASIC, to be honest, I'd say the likelihood of it being soldering is very high. Doesn't matter how well you do the process. Without practice, especially if you haven't done many. Look at when I was doing them at first, it took about 40 minutes to do the first one. And then another 6 were constantly just never soldered down right. These we've done 6 in a row and 2 of them had floating pins, even though we've got the process pretty clean now. So I think just the 1 ASICs are troublesome to solder basically as you. Again, probably more practice I'll get better, but I'd say that went pretty well and we still ended up with floating pins. So I think just one of them. I think the 1 ASICs are really got to keep an eye out for them floating pins. Yes, that works fine. All good. So that's 6 for 6. Oh yeah, actually, good point as well. The one failure we did have was with a funny plane screen that was literally on fire on stream. It was actually smoking and igniting, so it was like bright orange. So that was very likely inductor voltage spiking, killing that chip. So that probably would have been a working chip as well, but it got killed by a funny plane screen basically. So yeah, I think that's it. I will. What time are we on? I'll probably jump on the sub-only stream at 4 o'clock. Don't know whether you want to cover schematics, hardware, or whether you want to do the repairs. Tomorrow was going to be like your actual repairs, like doing general work, but today we could start covering reading schematics if you wanted, learning schematics and hardware. It's up to you. Just jump on Discord and let me know before we go on, and we'll see how many people jump on. I'll catch everybody